Welcome to Performance Anxiety, everyone, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. We have to thank former guest John Agnello for this show. He introduced us to our guest Jackie McLean of Roan Yellowthorn. She tells us about her road to becoming a recording artist, and it's a little different from most. A lot of it is due to Jackie's pure determination. Their first album was a total DIY affair, but it was so good it got the band signed to Blue Elan Records. And after a stunning album of covers, they met up with John and recorded their next album, whose release has been delayed by the pandemic. Fortunately, I've got a small preview for everyone, and Jackie's been documenting the entire process online for Atwood Magazine. It's a great look behind the curtain of how an album gets made and delayed, unfortunately. Follow Roan Yellowthorn at Roan_Yellowthorn on Instagram. Check out their first LP and the covers album on Bandcamp. Follow us at Performance ANX on all social media. Subscribe, rate, review, and check out the other great shows on the Pantheon Podcast Network. Reach out with thoughts at theperformanceanxietypod@gmail.com. And let's jump right into this show with Jackie McLean of Roan Yellowthorn on Performance Anxiety.
Hey, this is Jackie McLean from Roan Yellowthorn, and I'm here on Performance Anxiety, so give it a listen.
I just got to clean up.
I know the feeling.
So, you figure with this quarantine going on and everybody being on lockdown, I'd be doing a lot more of that, but no, I'm not.
Yeah, cleaning's always the last thing, I feel like.
It is. I mean, yeah, I'm an adult. I'm 47. I should be like, I know what I got to do, but I still don't do it.
Oh my God.
Anyway, well, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Of course, happy to be here.
Now, I've found out about Roan Yellowthorn through the producer for your upcoming album, John Agnello, and previous podcast guest John Agnello, and he told me, let me see, I want to make sure I say this right. He told me that when he heard your music, it gave him the same feeling as the first time he heard Mark Lanigan's voice.
Oh,
he said it gave him goosebumps.
He's so sweet. So
he said, definitely to keep an eye out. And then he was kind enough to volunteer a track or two for his episode, which I hope you don't mind me using a few seconds of to kind of whet people's appetites.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Good. So what I want to do is to find out a little bit more about how you got to where you are. I want to know a little bit about your musical history. You've been doing articles online for Atwood, and they've been really interesting. And through reading them, I found out that you haven't actually been a professional musician for very long. It's been five and a half years, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did you get into music? Were you into music when you were a kid? Did you play an instrument? Were you singing? How did this all start?
Well, it was kind of a windy road, but I was always very musical, and I'd say it was a really big part of my identity when I was growing up and through high school and stuff like that. I was in I was in the musicals. I was like, got the lead role a lot quite often. But I was kind of like a theater nerd, and I really just liked singing. I also really have always felt really comfortable expressing myself through writing. Okay. So those were kind of side by side always. And then I went to college, and I kind of wanted to explore other things that were out there, and I didn't do much music at all, and I didn't do any music really. I was in one band for like one show, It lasted like very briefly, but I didn't do nobody like in college thought of me as musical, I don't think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then but it was a really writing kind of heavy school.
Okay.
So I developed, you know, a lot of, I guess, a lot more experience writing. And then after that, when I graduated from college, I went through sort of a typical 20-something post-college experience of not knowing what I was doing with my life, not knowing really like who I was.
That doesn't necessarily stop at your 20s.
Well, yeah, finding that.
I'm 47, still doing it.
Yeah, I'm kind of learning that, actually. But I guess at that point I realized that that the lack of music in my life was really making me sad.
Oh, okay.
I felt a lot of pain around that. You know, I went through some years where it was hard for me to like listen to the radio because it made me like bitter. I would hear music and I'd be like angry because I wasn't doing anything musically. And yeah, so it was something that I really wanted, but I think I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know if I could. It seemed overwhelming and like difficult. And I don't know, it seemed daunting to try to like start, you know, after college. I feel I just compare myself a lot to other people. And I think,
I know that feeling.
Yeah. I was looking at other people doing music and they were all kind of like, it seemed to me, the people that I was comparing myself to were, you know, at a certain point already, you know, at that age. And I was like feeling self-conscious about that. I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, seriously, it's, you know, I going through that kind of at this point, because I went to college for photography, did it for about a decade, got out of it to get a real job. Right. My wife and I started a family, and then I kind of had the same feelings that you were. Like, I'm kind of pissed off that some of my friends are doing this now, and you know, some of the guys I went to college with are you know, working, doing things for people like Oprah, and doing things for home and HGTV and things, and you know, because I ended up leaving school early and I ended up doing, you know, things that I didn't really want to do, like weddings and school photos and things like that, and not being as creative as I wanted to. And even while doing it, I was feeling kind of bitter about the choices I had made. You know, it wasn't anybody's fault but my own, but the level of success that I wasn't having, I guess. Yeah,
I relate to that. And I think that, you know, that kind of comparing yourself to other people, like that really holds you back.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I had also just had a baby at that point.
Oh, okay.
So it was another layer of like, what's my identity right now, you know?
I know that one too.
That can shake things up a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What was the impetus to start actually writing music? How did you switch from going to a writing college to writing music and writing songs?
Well, I like this part of the story. Because, what happened is that growing up, I had always been singing, but I always needed somebody else to play music for me while I sang. I didn't know how to play any instruments.
Okay.
And, you know, I was in plays and stuff like that. I would do things with my brother sometimes growing up where he's a really good guitar player, so he would play guitar and I would sing. But when I was, you know, after college, I was living with my partner and we were kind of in this like remote area. I didn't know anybody and I didn't have any way to really sing because I didn't have anyone to play with me. And so I just decided to try to learn how to play piano.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a really old keyboard that I had just, you know, been dragging around since college and never learned how to play.
I had a keyboard. I did.
Yeah.
Kind of went everywhere I did.
exactly. And because I always had wanted to learn, but I just never did. And then I just started watching YouTube videos, and
wow.
I just would be like hunched over on the floor, you know, with this little weird keyboard, like trying to figure out how to play songs that I knew. And after a couple weeks, I think I started to feel comfortable enough to at least plunk out basic chords.
Okay.
And as soon as I figured out how to do that, I've always written poetry, and then really all at once I just started writing songs.
Wow. So it was a pretty straightforward progression then.
Yeah. And then at that point, the first time I wrote one, I was like, damn, like, I can't believe I can do that. I was really surprised. And then I was like, man, what if I can't ever write another one? What if that's the only song I ever write? You know? I was like, maybe it's like a one-time thing. I don't know. But it felt so good to be able to like create something that had my feelings in it, and that was structured, and that was poetic, and, you know, I could sing also.
Yeah.
It was great. And then my partner, I had, you know, I started writing a lot of songs, so I had a bunch of songs that I was really excited about, and kind of naturally, I think my partner just like suggested, why don't we like find a studio and just try to like record these just so we have them.
Oh, cool.
So I had a friend in college who had interned at a studio that happened to be close to us, so I knew the name of it. I made an appointment, we went, and when we got there, I started playing the first song I was going to record, because I did the keys first, and it was the first time I had ever, like, you know, recorded it was the first time I had ever played a song for somebody except for my partner.
Oh, wow.
And so I was just doing the keyboard part first, and I could tell he was kind of just like, you know, he's like, okay, like I could tell he knew that I wasn't that good at playing piano.
Yeah.
And then I think I like went to the bathroom or something, and my partner said to him, like, don't worry, like when she sings, it's going to be better than this or something. And then I went into the booth and I started singing, and like I remember seeing the engineer like turn to my husband and go like, wow.
Nah, see?
Like he mouthed that, and that was such a confidence boost for me, because it was really nice to see that reaction. And he actually has become a really good friend, and he's been someone who's really encouraged me the whole way.
Excellent.
So that's been really cool. But I don't know, I guess that one experience gave me a lot of confidence. And then from there, I just kept taking one more step, I guess.
So you weren't even going out and doing open mics or anything like that. You just wrote and then decided to go into a studio and record them.
Yeah, I hadn't done anything. I don't think I played any live shows until my first EP came out, and then I did something. You know, I did some sort of like thing in front of other people. But yeah.
How was that?
Oh well, actually, it was very scary.
I imagine it would be. Yeah, it would be for me. That's for sure. At this time, you're writing music, and you're raising a family also.
Yeah, we had a baby. We had like a really young baby when I was recording that first EP. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
And did you guys? Were you doing that as Roan Yellowthorn, or were you just recording it as Jackie McLean?
I think right away. Well, I think I did, you know, the first session just under my name, because I didn't know what would become of it.
Yeah.
But then once I started actually like considering making some sort of EP, I really felt uncomfortable about using my name. It didn't feel like it was mine. I didn't feel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't feel like. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was me, really, that name.
Okay. Wow. So how did you come up with Roan Yellowthorn?
Well, I think maybe I haven't felt comfortable with my name for maybe a lot of my life, because in college I really wanted to change it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was trying to imagine like the ideal name for my spirit, what it would be.
Okay.
And so I kind of just came up with this name, which was kind of like, it's Roan Yellowthorn, and it kind of just came from an amalgamation of kind of just like images and ideas that I had in my head.
It sounds very Native American.
Yeah, I think it's definitely nature-based. It's like a roan is a kind of horse.
Yeah.
And then I wanted there to be like plant imagery. And I don't know, it just kind of came together in my head. And when I was wondering what kind of name to use, my partner, who knew me in college, was like, why don't you use Roan Yellowthorn, since you haven't used that for anything?
That worked out very well.
So it was a perfect solution.
You knew back then in college, you innately knew you were going to need that for something.
I think so, yeah.
And so this whole time, your partner is Sean Strack, and he's been with you this whole time, recording and working with you?
Yeah, he actually, when I decided that I wanted to try to do music stuff, he taught himself how to play drums.
Wow.
And now he's insanely good at drums, but at the beginning he was really bad at drums.
I heard he's really good at ping pong.
He's good at ping pong too. And then when we made our first album, which he produced, he taught himself how to do that in order to do it.
So he taught himself how to use like Pro Tools and Logic and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with my podcast software. God.
It's a learning process.
Well, I've done 300 shows with three different podcasts. I'm still struggling.
Oh my gosh.
So,
wow. That's a lot.
Oh, gosh. It's ridiculous. It's a stupid amount. Only a little over, I guess, it's almost 125 with this, with performance anxiety. So,
wow.
I'm starting to figure it out.
To learn.
Yeah. I'm starting to figure things out. It takes 300 or so episodes, but then you start to it starts to really sink in.
Oh my gosh.
So Sean is learning. Is he a musician by trade, or does he do something else?
Yeah, he's a teacher.
Oh, okay. Oh, excellent. Well, then he should be good at learning.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense in my brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you guys decide to continue writing and creating new music, and you actually did your first full-length album all by yourself. That must have been an incredible undertaking. That I can't imagine doing everything yourself.
It was one of the most challenging, insane things, but I think it's just a testament to the fact how badly I wanted to do it.
It sounds like it. The production quality. If Sean was learning on the fly doing this, it sounds amazing.
Thank you. Well, he spent an insane amount of time on it. I think we both, I do the writing and the singing and all that stuff, and he does the drums, and he produced that album, and we both put hundreds and hundreds of hours into doing every single aspect of it ourselves.
It shows, because now I have a couple of questions about this album.
Okay.
So, first of all, intro. Mm-hmm. That's adorable.
Whoa, 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 you blow gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily,
Is that your child on the intro?
Yeah. It's my oldest. I have two daughters. It's my oldest daughter, and she was so cute. She like loved playing that song, and we had to bring the kids with us every time we recorded. So. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So they were. We only had one kid at that time, but she was there, and we just like for fun asked if she wanted to sing something in the booth, and it was okay. So we went to the studio. We went to two professional studios to do vocals and some instruments, and one of them was the same studio that we did our EP at. Okay. And so it was just like a really fun, relaxed experience, and we just asked her she wanted to go in and play something for fun, and he just recorded it because it was really cute, and then it ended up being like a really good element for that kind of sound collage. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. It's very dreamy and sweet. It's just, I love it. And outro also is amazing. Is that live? It sounds like that's a live recording. Yeah, it was let me think. What did we do? Oh, outro. Yeah, that was live. Actually, that was just me. That was a demo that I just did in our like, I don't know what to call it. We used to have this little, in the house we lived in, we had this little like shed that I set my keyboard up in and a speaker, and like I just wanted to record it for my Tascam to just have a version of it. Mm-hmm. And then Sean, like in the middle of the night one night, stayed up all night, and then in the morning he was like, I made this. And I can't stand to be here any longer on solid ground. I'm trapped in my own mind. You'll see me shining like an asteroid. I'm gonna leave this earth behind. I'll see the things that haunt my memory. I'll see the million tears I've cried. But none of that can touch me when I'm on the outside. On the outside, I never felt like I belonged. On the outside. And he had like attached the trippy part at the beginning, and then just used that original file, and it worked out really well. That might be my favorite track on that entire album. I absolutely love that, and the fact that it's just a live shot, it's just incredible. Oh, I'm so glad. That is awesome. I mean, you got to, but the whole album is great. Lie and Factory Man. Those are just, and the title track, Indigo. I'm looking at the track listing right now. It's really hard to pick out a favorite, but I think it's Outro on the Outside. I think that is my favorite for sure. That's so nice. How long did it take you guys to do that whole album? From let's say from writing to actually having a finished product? I think it probably took over a year, I'd say. And you guys just did this on your own? You weren't signed to a label at that point or anything? No, we did it on our own. We did every part. Yeah, we did every part on our own. We had really like no money to put into it, so we spent money for like I think 5 days of studio time, and then we just kind of out of necessity had to do every part by ourselves. And learning on the way. Yeah, but I'm glad that we did, because it really made me appreciate when we didn't have to do it all ourselves. Yeah. I've got some questions for you about that, but I want to find out some more information, because you did this album, you weren't on a label, and then you just kind of decided to get signed. Did I read that correctly? Well, it was always it was definitely a goal. I was very focused. I really wanted that, because I knew that it wasn't sustainable if I didn't have some sort of label support. Right. So I kind of from the beginning have had these goals that I've been very like laser focused on, and I just work at it until I get that thing.
Yeah.
Or at least try to get that thing. Really hard. I try really hard.
So what was the process like of getting signed, of reaching out to labels and finally getting signed to Blue Elan? It
was probably kind of unorthodox because I didn't have really any contacts, like musically. I didn't have anybody to help me figure out like how to do it or who to contact.
Okay.
So basically I just made a Google document and I did a lot of research. I spent like a few weeks really devoting myself to working on it. I compiled a list of like people I wanted to send it to. I found their email addresses online through like stalking and sleuthing.
Much how I get many guests on this podcast.
Yeah. And then I got an answer from somebody who I really wanted to get an answer from, and it was completely exhilarating because it feels like you're just sending something out into the void over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know?
I know how you feel.
Yeah, just every day sending emails, nothing comes back, and then you get a response and it's positive and it's just like, it just seems unbelievable, kind of. Yeah,
it reinvigorates you completely.
It really changes your mindset, for sure.
Oh, yeah. How long was the process from them reaching out to you to actually getting signed? I'm always curious about that.
I think it was 3 months.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think what happened is that the founder of the label answered my email. He sent a beautiful response that was really thoughtful and encouraging, and he basically said that he really loved the album and that they were, you know, listening to it internally and that he would like be in touch.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was great. And then after that, I kept him in the loop about stuff. When we were designing album art, I sent him, you know, like a mock-up of what we were doing. And then eventually we set up a phone call. And then on the phone call, he basically said, I want to bring you out here and I want to sign you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane. It was like, I was like, okay, this is real.
Wow. And what's funny is that, you know, it wasn't something that I guess the best way to phrase this, it's not that it wasn't a lifelong dream, but it wasn't something that you were pursuing your entire life. It's just, but when you decided that was what you wanted to do, you went out and you did it.
I almost feel like I had a lot of pent up, what's the word? A lot of pent up determination, because I think it was a lifelong dream that I didn't let myself acknowledge until it broke open. There
you go. That makes a lot of sense.
And when it broke open, it was intense. I felt it very strongly.
And it worked for you because you were determined to get an end result, and you got it.
Yeah, I was lucky though. You know, you can't discount the element of luck.
No, that's true. But you also have to make sure you give yourself enough credit, because you guys did put the work in. You created an entire album from scratch.
We worked really hard. We really did.
So it's well-deserved luck.
Aww.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. And then you guys decided to do a covers album.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I've been listening to that. That is amazing. There's such a wide variety of stuff on it.
Oh, Oh, that's so sweet.
It is so cool. I mean, look, I'm looking at it right now. You've got some classic stuff like "I Started a Joke," which is probably, listening to the lyrics, is probably the most horrible song ever written. If you just look at the lyrics,
yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
No, I died and then everything was okay.
Yeah.
Something bad happened to me. Everybody laughed. I died. Everybody feels good.
But it's sad. Something about it is so sad.
It is. It's horrible. Lyrically, it's just terrible. It's the saddest song ever written, I think.
I know.
But then you do some amazing other songs like "We Just Disagree." And I'm going to tell you right now that between "I Started a Joke" and "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes," you just crushed those songs.
Oh.
I have heard so many horrible versions of "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes."
Oh my gosh.
And yours is up in like the top 2 covers of it I've ever heard. It's just that good.
They asked me how I knew my true love was true. I, of course, replied, something deep inside cannot be denied.
That's so nice to hear.
It is amazing. I mean, I'll tell you, this is a stupid story, but I'll tell it. When I was in, I guess, senior year in high school, early college years, huge Led Zeppelin fan. I mean, I'm still a huge Led Zeppelin fan, but I was collecting all kinds of bootlegs. Anything that was a little different, any live show where they played a song, they did a weird cover, or they played an old song, like an old 50s song, I would pick it up. Anything that was a little odd, a little different. I wanted to hear Led Zeppelin do it. Mm-hmm. And I found this one vinyl, and it had them doing "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes."
What?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I pick it up and I bring it home and I listen to it, and it's literally 10 seconds of "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes," and that's because that's all that Robert Plant sang. He sang
Wow.
it, and he sings like the first half of a verse, and then he's like, "Thank you," and that was it.
That's crazy.
I paid like $25 for that thing, and I got so pissed. And it wasn't even like a good version. So your version is better than Led Zeppelin's version.
That's hilarious.
To me. So don't tell Robert Plant I said that, though.
Your secret is safe.
All right. So he's probably listening, so I'll probably get called out on it. So you do some classics, but you also, I mean, you do "You're Cheating Heart," which is awesome. "Who's Sorry Now?" But you also do, like, if I remember correctly, is a hidden track off Alanis Morissette's "Jagged Little Pill" album.
Yes.
That I remember. I had that album, and I think I still have it. And out of all the popular songs, I think I like that hidden little track the best. And it's one of those I would never have thought of covering that. What made you pick that song?
Oh, I think I just wanted to pick songs that felt magical to me. And I remember when I first heard that song, it just really affected me. It was so raw and like,
yes.
Yeah. And I think she has 2 versions, but the one that I heard and that I really love is the a cappella one.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just so stark and it's so honest, and it's just like kind of like shockingly vulnerable. And it always stayed with me.
I haven't listened to that album came out, 95 or something? I probably haven't listened to that album since 96.
Wow.
But that's the song that I really remember off of that album. So when I saw you cover that, I'm like, that's pretty crazy. And it's an amazing version.
Thank you.
So so these are all songs that really mean something to you. And how did this whole idea start of doing a covers album? Was it planned, or was it just kind of like a spur of the moment? Hey, let's pick a few covers to fill out a set list, and then it just kind of grew? What happened?
Yeah, it was a really, really cool, fun, weird evolution where basically I wanted to I just wanted to record one cover.
Okay.
Initially, because I knew that we were gonna make a studio album of Roan Yellowthorn stuff, but it was going to be a while until that happened. And I wanted to have, I think initially I just wanted to make, one song to have, and I did something at home and it didn't sound that great because the quality wasn't so good. And then Kirk, who is the same guy who reached out to me initially about my album, he's become a very important person in my life, and he was just like, why don't you guys come out here and we'll do a song or two and you can do it here. And cool. Yeah, so we did, but then it turned into like 5 songs. and then we were having like so much fun just reimagining these amazing songs that we loved that we were just, Kirk was like, let's just do an album. Let's just like, why don't you guys come out again and we'll think about like a few more songs and we'll just like make a whole album. And then,
wow.
And then like we started thinking about, what the vibe of the artwork would be, and like, having ideas for like the cover, and like, it just really snowballed into like this complete special thing. And it was so much fun to make. It was just like we were exploring and like trying out things, and I don't know, it was a super fun experience.
And that ended up working its way into doing your full album of original music, which hasn't come out yet.
Yes.
But you've been documenting this whole process online. And so the first thing I want to find out is you use producer John Agnello.
Yes.
And I love the guy to death. He's just awesome.
He's the best.
How did you get hooked up with him?
Oh, well.
That always usually signifies a long story.
It was a long process because I think we initially got connected like before we even made Indigo.
Okay.
Because we really wanted to work with him, and then it turned out that it's expensive to work with a real producer.
Yeah, I would say probably. I haven't done that yet, but yeah.
But from that initial contact, he really liked the demos that I sent, and he stayed in touch, like really consistently, kind of checking in, and like, he's such a friendly, nice person. We had never met in person or anything like that, but we just continued to be connected, and he was just always so supportive and enthusiastic about what we were doing. And so when we had the opportunity to make a record with label backing and actually pick somebody to work with, I was really, really, really excited to be able to actually finally make a record with him.
So did you know him from his prior work, or was he suggested to you before Indigo, or how did you know John?
It was from his work. Okay. Just from there were a bunch of albums that we really loved that he had worked on.
Oh yeah, like Dino Jr. stuff and Mark Lanigan and
yeah. So many things.
Yeah.
The Phosphorescent.
Oh yeah.
So, he was just like a dream producer, and then the actual experience was even better than I could have imagined. And now he's like a family member. So it's really special.
And you were documenting the whole thing, like we've alluded to a few times. And I wanted to know a little bit about how did you get started doing that? Was that something that was pre-planned, or was it something else?
It was super lucky because I started writing a blog like maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I just did it on WordPress because I wanted to. I think someone at my label suggested that maybe I should start one, just because I really like writing, and I don't know, the stuff that I had written, they were like, this is cool, you should like do more. And so I started a little blog, and then I had this goal where I really, really wanted to have a column somewhere.
Okay.
And be able to, with the, the hope that I could document this cool thing that I was going to do and show the process of making an album from start to finish. Which
is an amazing idea, because, I mean, how many people know what goes on behind the scenes?
Exactly. And before we made Indigo, I didn't know anything about how to do it. It was a complete mystery, and I had to learn by just trial and error.
Well, and even Indigo was a more of a unique experience because you guys did it on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it feels like a very closed door system in a sense.
Right. And don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah. And there's so much that happens, even if you have a label, which I'm lucky enough to have, there's still so many elements as an artist that, you need to figure out and do. And, so I had this idea to try and get a column, and then I just started reaching out to a lot of, online magazines, and, in the same way as before, it was a lot of like shooting into the void. and then one response came back, and it just takes one response to get the thing that you want to get.
Yeah, exactly.
So it worked out.
So you started this whole process of writing and recording a new album, and you guys had to hand the reins over to John after doing an entire album on your own. And I'm not sure exactly what the process was for the Rediscovered album, but was it tough for you to just kind of relinquish control to somebody else?
I was so ready to relinquish control. I was like, you know what you're doing so much better than me. Please just like do your magic. I am going to step back and relax a little bit.
But you guys, you did some demos, but when it came time to actually record the album, you had to put an ensemble together to actually record. Was that John, or was that you guys? Was it a combination?
That was all John. He asked what we wanted, and we said, we wanted like Sean would do the drums. We wanted a guitar, a bass, and keys, and then he also had the idea to add some harp to one of the songs, which ended up being really cool.
Oh, wow.
And so he just put together a group of people that he thought would be a really good match, both for the music and just, he thought everyone would really get along.
Okay.
And we really did. It was really, really cool.
So who's on the album besides you two? I know you've got some musicians there that I absolutely love.
Oh, really?
Oh, Emil Amos. I love Holy Sons, Grails, Ohm. I mean, there's just, his stuff is amazing.
He's such a cool guy. He was so much fun to work with.
I got to get him on this show. He actually went to college with a guy I had on the show like a year ago. So I gotta reach out to him again.
You should. He's so much fun to talk to also.
And I got the chance to see him. I didn't get to actually see him perform with Ohm in March. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, Woven Hand opened up. I was actually there to shoot photos of Woven Hand for a DC area blog, but I ended up hanging out and watching Ohm a little bit. They told me they said you don't have to shoot Ohm, just shoot Woven Hand. I'm like, okay. So, and I ended up listening to Ohm while I was chatting with David Eugene Edwards afterwards. So it was this awesome, surreal experience for me. But
oh, that's sick.
Oh, it's crazy. But I haven't had a chance to play music with any of them. That had to be awesome. Who else is on there besides Emil?
So we had Jessica Hume doing bass, and she is so good. And we were excited because Sean really likes the Felice brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And she plays with them, but she just killed every bass line. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And then we had Andy Burton doing keys.
Oh, nice. Man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah. It pays to know somebody like John.
He knows all the good people.
Yeah.
But Andy was so good, and he was doing all these really innovative, crazy things. He brought a lot of weird instruments that I had never seen. This thing called like a continuum.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a pad that has kind of like lines on it, and it makes these insane noises.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was like, at some points he was like plucking the strings inside the piano and like just doing like really cool things. Like technically I think he's credited as doing keys, but he did so many more things.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we also had Mary Lattimore doing harp for one of the songs, and she is a genius. So it was super cool. That's
fantastic. Now, how long were you in the studio with everybody?
We were there for 8 days.
Oh, were the kids there?
No.
Oh, not this time?
No, since we made our other music, we moved to the place where we live now, and my partner's parents are right down the street from us.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, it's great. They help us a lot with childcare.
That's awesome. Man, if in the profession you're in, that's huge.
It's great, and it's good for everybody because they love it, and I think my kids like them more than they like me. And
I know the feeling. I have 3 teenagers, so I know the feeling of they like somebody else more than you.
Yeah.
You guys did the recording, you did the mixing, you're documenting everything through Atwood Magazine, and it's really fascinating to read what's going on this whole time. But you're recording, you're working on artwork, you're writing, but you end up giving everything over to John so he can do his mixing. Was that kind of a relief for you, instead of having it to go through every detail yourself, just having him saying, okay, do you like this mix or this mix better, and then just picking between what he's done instead of doing it all yourself?
Yeah, I think the good thing is that by that point, we had built so much trust. Like, I really, really trusted his opinion, like not his opinion, but his sensibility.
Right.
And I felt like we were really on the same page about the vibe and about the feeling, and like I felt like he really understood, even better than me, like what the album should be.
Okay.
And so I really felt really comfortable during the mixing process. I think I made like one suggestion of something that I wanted to change, and then I also think I have to take credit for the song that we have harp on. We ended up using the demo that this actually wasn't even in the mixing process, but we ended up using just a raw demo with harp over it.
Oh wow.
And that was my idea, but but basically I felt I really trusted John, and everything he sent back, we did it kind of like the mixing process was he would mix something. He did it for like a few straight days. So we would just be by our computer kind of like during the day waiting to see what he would send. And everything he sent was perfect and amazing. So. And
then he sent it off to get mastered, and it sounded 30% more perfect.
Exactly. It really did. Yes, it really did.
He mentioned that his guy just makes it like, 20 to 30% better. He's got a little magic that he pulls out of his ass, I guess. I don't know where it comes from, but it's and that's the kind of thing I would love to hear. The pre-mastered and the postmaster. What the hell? the pre-mastered and the mastered versions, so I can compare, because I want to hear what happens like that. That's the kind of thing that I'm dying to listen to.
I know, and it's such a mysterious process. Like, does anyone actually know what mastering entails?
No, John, we did like 20 minutes on his podcast of the different types of engineers, recording, mixing, and mastering, and I still don't know what the hell the difference is.
Nobody knows. It's a magical process.
It really is. It's some kind of weird voodoo.
Right? But with this guy in particular, we were super excited because we love listening to John's podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so good. And before we started recording, we heard the one with Greg, and we were really excited when he said that he was going to be mastering our album.
Oh, see, it pays to do your research.
Yeah, I guess.
You wrote, in the process of documenting this whole process, you wrote one article that really kind of struck me, and it was the one where you felt like you've lost the joy of listening to music. Mm-hmm. And I know exactly how you feel, because that happened to me with photography, when it became more of a business than something I loved doing.
Yeah.
And it's happened a little bit with the podcast, believe it or not, with the amount of music that I end up getting. I'm not listening to it to enjoy it. I'm listening to it to talk to somebody about the music, or to formulate questions that aren't, the same 5 bullet points that everybody else asks them. So it's become work and not a hobby anymore, and it's kind of a weird. So that article you wrote really struck home with me.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, because you start doing something because you love it, and then you get used to kind of using a different part of your brain for it, and
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of maybe part of it. It's just, it takes kind of effort to try to switch out of that mode that you're used to being in, Yeah.
Now, since everybody's been on lockdown, have you been able to kind of rediscover the joy of listening to music again?
Yes, in a huge way.
Oh, that's good.
A huge way. It's crazy. I think that maybe it's just the fact that I'm kind of not doing music so much right now because of the lockdown thing.
Yeah.
It's like that part is, the intensity of that part of my brain is lowered, and I'm able to, and I think the other thing about it is that because there's so much underlying anxiety right now, I don't want to hear anybody talking. In
fact, I don't even want to talk. This podcast is over.
No, I mean, listening to the radio, a news show or something. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
It's actually it's so much. I'm becoming it's so soothing for me now to just listen to music. It's it's like rediscovering it completely almost.
Oh, that's awesome. That's one good thing is coming out of lockdown. That and spending more time with your family. So
yeah.
There's a couple good things. So what have you guys been up to during this whole lockdown phase of life?
Well, I've been I'm still writing the Atwood column, which is cool because it was supposed to be like 10 parts or something like that.
Oh, you doubled that.
Well, yeah. And our album was supposed to come out in, I think, July, and now it's not coming out until February.
Wow.
So I'm going to keep going until it actually comes out.
Awesome. Well, it's supposed to be documenting the process, and until it's out, it's still part of the process.
It's still happening, and little things here and there are still happening with it. But I don't know. I'm just kind of like living differently. I'm like, I'm painting cabinets. I'm doing like weird little things like that.
You're getting back to basics, kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been lucky enough to hear 2 of the songs off the album. Thank you, John. And
something hidden in your face, a studied innocence. Your jeans and white A-line and a smooth ambivalence. I couldn't look away from you. I watched you for a week. I saw you dance long before I ever heard you speak. I saw you dance and felt like you were dancing just for me. I wonder what is underneath.
Where is the album at this point? Is it completely finished? Is it ready to go? It's just waiting for things to open back up?
Yeah, it's been done since March.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's just like the worst timing ever.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah, for real. But it's done. It is so done. It's like...
It's well done.
I know. I'm so ready for people to hear it, but I know that I have to be patient.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a cliche, but good things are worth waiting for. So, if the couple of tracks that I've heard are any indication, it's definitely worth waiting for.
Aw, yeah, I was talking to John about it. He's been counseling me because I'm like, I was like depressed at first. I was like, I can't believe we can't put this out for so long. But he was like, now, there's a lot of reasons not to put it out right now, and just because you're impatient is not a good enough reason to do
it. Yeah, he's been doing this a long time. I'd have to go with him, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you guys have plans to play out once things open up and the album's released?
Yeah, hopefully. There's no saying what will happen, but this summer, I don't know. We were building like a really big tour, and we were supposed to be showcase artists at South by Southwest.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so sad. And we were supposed to play Mile of Music and a couple other things, but hopefully next summer it'll be possible to do some touring, and we'll be able to kind of like build something that we can do, since we couldn't do it this summer.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll be able to savor it a little bit more next year. That you've had to wait, and things are, it seems like sometimes you go straight from one process into another, and you don't get a chance to really sit back and enjoy it. Maybe, having to wait almost a whole year for it to come out, maybe you'll enjoy it a little bit more. Maybe,
yeah.
Where can people find the albums that you do have out?
We have stuff on Spotify, and we also have, as of now, the place to hear the whole rediscovered cover album is on Bandcamp.
Okay, and where can people read the articles that you're writing, and keep reading them for the next 6 to 8 months?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Atwood Magazine is the place where I put out an article every Thursday.
Okay, and you got now Roan Yellowthorn is also doing Facebook Live. Is that right? Twice a week. You still guys do it still twice a week?
Yeah, I actually took off the whole month of June.
Okay.
And I'm like psyching myself up to like start again.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird. To me, that seems almost like exercising, because I got to psych myself up to actually, get on the elliptical here. Performing for a screen has got to be similar to that in a way, because you're not getting that instant feedback.
Yeah, I mean, compared to a live show where even if you only have a couple people at a live show, there's still like an energy exchange that you can feel.
Yeah.
You're giving a lot, but you're also, you feel like you're receiving, a lot of energy back. And it's more draining to do it virtually, because you're just kind of putting out a lot of energy, and getting comments and stuff like that is definitely, that's something that comes back to you, but you're not really feeling it, the energy, in the same way.
Oh yeah, it's like doing a concert and then getting a letter about it later.
Yeah, it's a different feeling.
Yeah, it's not. It's,
for sure.
It's not. There isn't that energy there. It's just, even it's a little more immediate than sticking a stamp on a letter and mailing it to you. It's still a little impersonal. Yeah,
there's a divide for sure. It's different, but I mean, it could be the real direction that that music is moving in, because of all of the things.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's only a facet of it, and it comes back the way I like to experience shows, through in a club or in an arena. I like a club better than an arena myself, but I miss that. I mean, I was just getting back into shooting shows live for a blog here in DC, and it's I got like 2 or 3 shows into it, and then everything got shut down.
Oh, so sad. I know there's nothing like seeing a live show and just communing with the people on stage and the people in the crowd. It's nothing compares, really. Really, it's a amazing experience, and I don't want to give that up. So I'm fighting to get stuff open as quickly as it's safe, if that makes any sense. Yeah, for sure.
So, now, do you guys have a social media presence where people can keep track of what you guys are doing and what's going on with the band? Yeah,
we're on all the things. We have all the platforms.
What's your Instagram? And I don't even know what other. I know I hate Twitter.
Yeah.
But I'm on it just to promote the show. I'd do almost nothing else on Twitter, but I love Instagram. I mean, I'm 47, so I'm still on Facebook. I don't even know what else is out there. My kids love TikTok. I don't know. So how can people find you? Is it all the same handle?
Yeah, it's all pretty much versions of, I think Instagram is like Roan_Yellowthorn, and then Twitter is just Roan Yellowthorn, but we're usually the only Roan Yellowthorn, so. Yeah,
I can imagine. There's not a whole lot of that. And it's ROAN Yellowthorn.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for spending, I've kept you for an hour, and I thank you so much for explaining it. It's really cool to learn about the process of working with John, who's just awesome, and how you worked your butt off to get signed. It's really inspiring, and it's just a really great story.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk about it with you.
Nothing's what it seems. I don't